He's the leader of the Red and Black.
Yeah, I always had that aspiration to be a head coach one more time, and this is the last time.
Time to hear from the head coach of the Aztecs. It's the Brady Hoke Report. Driven by Sunroad's Kearney Mesa Subaru. Visit Kearney Mesa Subaru or KearneyMesaSubaru.com. It just makes sense. Minutes from anywhere in San Diego.
Sorry, I have to give you your proper introduction. I jumped the gun there, Coach. How are you? Good morning.
Doing well. How are you?
We're good. Coach, there's a lot to talk about with the game on Saturday, and we all know this. Football is adversity. Football is a game of attrition. Do you have an update for us on Lucas Johnson's injury?
Well, he started cramping, and at the same time, that was kind of a hamstring that he'd been fighting through a little bit, but with a little rest and the next couple of days, we feel real good about where he's at.
Brady, when did it really start bothering him and affecting his play, whether it was the cramping or otherwise? There was a lot of speculation that long run, he may have tweaked something in the long touchdown run early on. But when did it really start to affect his play? Well,
I think, at halftime they looked at it. We got a great medical staff, and they did a great job, our trainers, Pat, and doing everything they could, and it just, it kept cramping up a little bit. Tried to get it in the second half to feel better, and then it was kind of, he was in and out, it'd feel good, and then at one time, it really hurt and kind of went down without getting touched, but he's a tough guy. He knows what the culture around here is, and obviously at the end of the game, wanted to be in the game and did the best that he could at that time.
Brady, this game has to really, really hurt because as good as things looked early on, offensively and Lucas Johnson involved, and we can get to Greg Bell in a minute, but things looked exactly opposite in the second half. 21 first-half points, no points in the second half, but you had the play, right? You had, with less than a minute to go, he had an open receiver in Jesse Matthews and just did not hit him in stride. So as bad as things were, right, to have the win in your fingertips, that had to be a long trip home for you guys.
Well, it is. It always hurts. We got a lot of young men who are very prideful. They compete unbelievably. We had some opportunities, obviously, to win the game. We had too many penalties. Some of them I don't agree with at all, but, it's part of the game of football. But, and we had some opportunities. And obviously having the ball down there at the end of the game to basically win the game, it hurts. And so we don't meet with our guys on Sunday, but they're out there lifting outside this morning. And we will get together at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and we're going to fight on, just like Aztecs do.
Coach, when I first saw the Greg Bell injury, I immediately thought, my God, that looks like it's a high ankle sprain. It wasn't. And you talk about gutting it out and toughing it out. He got looked at by the trainers, eventually got back into the game. What's his status that you know of?
Well, right now, I think, everybody's a go.
Okay.
At this point in time, as we continue, throughout the week, we'll see where everybody's at, and, missing Greg for a good bit of the game, obviously. He's done some really good things for us, and we think he's an awfully good back. We played without Dunkel again, and Dunkel is a guy who's awfully good. And then DJ went to a funeral. His grandmother had passed away, and he had to go to Charleston. She raised him, and so it was very emotional, and he was very emotional about it. And we told him he's got to be with his family.
Yeah, that's the right call. Really, really sad to hear that, Coach. Before we look ahead to, can you get back on the field this weekend? I want to cover the Nevada game a little bit more. What did you think of the way your defense played against Carson Strong?
Well, I think they played very well. I think and Darren Hall played his butt off, and that may be one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in this country in college football. And Dubs, I think from the standpoint, we hit the quarterback, we didn't sack the quarterback, but we got him on the ground. They do a really good job of getting the ball out quick. I thought the defense gave us an opportunity at the end to win the game.
Coach, we mentioned we know what it's like on defense, especially for defensive backs. You can't look at somebody cross-eyed and they throw a flag. It just seemed that there were plays where maybe an Aztec defender deserved pass interference or holding, and then there were some plays where you look at it and on replay, and we have the hindsight of replay being 2020,
sure,
where it's just and I know you can't blame it on calls or missed calls and injuries and stuff like that, but it would be nice to just get one even concrete flow as far as officiating is concerned.
Well, in the scoring drive they had in the second half, we had 4 penalties on defense. And that's kind of unheard of.
Yes.
They called Caden McDonald for a late hit on the quarterback. Well, the quarterback falls down and trips Caden.
Right, and he's trying to get out of the way to begin with.
Yeah. So, and that's a third down play. And we're off the field. And that drive never happens. And, there are 4 penalties. And, we got to clean up, the righteous, legitimate penalties.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to beat ourselves, but at the same time, it's football, and you got to be able to play football.
Brady Hoke with us on Xtra 1360. The Aztecs lose to Nevada on Saturday, 26-21. They're 3-2, and we were excited for a Friday game against Fresno State right here on Xtra 1360. And Brady, that game is no longer. Before we talk about who may be next, how did you tell your team about that cancellation? How does that work?
Well, we obviously have a pretty good network of the technology today and the different chats and all that stuff, which I do not understand any of it. But we have some young coaches and young people who were within the department that once the league came out and said that, we told our guys we're hunting for a game where we definitely plan on playing this weekend, whether it be Friday or whether it be Saturday. We're trying to find an opponent, and we will play anybody, anywhere.
Coach, with and I want to make this all about Lucas Johnson and the injury. Him coming out the way he did, spinning it the way he did, and really having command of that offense. Does Lucas Johnson, 100% healthy, bring added aspects to that offense we haven't seen before?
Well, I think there's no doubt if he's healthy, the run game and what he gives us with the quarterback run takes some pressure, and how he started the game with within the passing concepts. He was on target. The receivers did a nice job, a couple tough catches, but he was on target and gave us an ability to take a little bit of the stress off the running game with just the running backs running the football. So he brings an added dimension to it. The one thing I will say, it's not like Carson is a guy who can't run, but I think there's a little bit more of an added dimension to it.
So, Brady, where do you go from here looking for your next opponent?
Well, as you guys know, I don't make those decisions, which is probably a good thing. But I know JD has been working since really early last week about trying to find somebody out there who would like to play.
Was that University of Washington calling on the phone right there?
No, that was my lovely daughter from Carolina.
Tell Kelly we said hi.
I will do that.
Does she have an opponent for you?
Yeah, well, she might. I'll tell you what, she's more into football than most people, I can tell you.
If anybody does, it's Kelly Hoke for sure.
Brady, what about looking in conference versus for a Power 5 conference? Does how does that necessarily work? Do you start within Mountain West Conference first to try to find someone and then look outward?
Well, I think, from what I know and what I can gather from it, obviously in conference would be where the conference would like to be, and I think where we all would like to be to play another conference opponent. But, if that's not available, obviously, I know JD's talked to the Pac-12 and are trying to figure if there's anything in that league, which I think would be awesome. And then across the country, whoever, I told him, I said, UMass is always looking, but they got a game this week. So, anybody, just so these guys can get out there and play. They love to play. They love to compete. And we've got a group of guys who I'm very excited about. I mean, obviously, things didn't go the way we wanted them to on Saturday. But at the same time, we won another opportunity.
Brady, you good with playing an opponent, let's say you've played 2 or 3 weeks ago, if it just happened to work out that way?
I'd be fine with it. I mean, if San Jose wants to play again, that would be fun.
Yes, it would.
That would be awesome.
But, I mean, we're open to anybody.
Yeah. Brady, appreciate you. Thanks for your time this morning.
Guys, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, Coach.